Hey everyone, welcome to the Movie Throne. I'm your host, the one and only King freaking Kansas. Yes, it's a different set behind the King. I'm bringing the podcast actually from my living room couch. Yes, I got movie posters all over the place. So there's many places I can film. I could have done it in front of the Christmas tree, but that'll be too distracting from my beautiful face, especially when we're tackling a subject that maybe people don't think that it's seasony or holiday seasonish, you know? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about in this episode or hot topic of the Movie Throne podcast. I'm going to tackle what I like to call part two of the Michael Bay live action franchises that he's done. Yes, he's done Bad Boys, but I'm not talking about Bad Boys. I'm sticking comic kind of book related films that he's had his hands a part of and all that stuff. In this particular case, he's actually directed these ones. You know, some people call them monstrosities. Some people love them. Some people hate it. Some people have trashed it. What the hell is the King referring to? I'm talking about the Michael Bay live-action Transformer films. I'm only going to be tackling the 5 that he actually directed. Not that he produced. I'm not talking about Bumblebee and Transformers 1 or Rise of the Beast. None of that. I'm talking about the 5 that he directed, and that's all she wrote, right? So the way I'm going to tackle this, guys, I'm going to give you guys kind of like my overall thoughts on every film, because you can watch my movie reviews on my YouTube channel of how I really feel in depth. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of like get to the point, and then I'm going to tell you if it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. And that's when I'm going to give you my, official opinion on every single Transformer film, a little bit of details, and at the end, overall thoughts on the Michael Bay Transformer films, all 5. Okay, the first one, guys, that I find near and dear, I think I might have seen this one probably 3 or 4 times in the theater. I was waiting for a live-action Transformers film for a long time because I always wanted to see what a live-action Optimus Prime would look like from what I was used to on the animations thing with Peter Cullen. And of course, when you have Peter Cullen coming to reprise the role or the voice of Optimus Prime, I'm like, sold! Sign me up right now. I didn't care, guys. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Optimus Prime doesn't look like what he looked like in G1, but they corrected that later on, guys. You got it. So anyways, Bumblebee is not a Volkswagen Beetle, but there was nods to it in this first film. Soundwave didn't look like Soundwave. Megatron didn't look like Megatron. Starscream was not exactly what we saw in the cartoon series. So a lot of these characters were not exactly what they appeared or on the cartoon show brought to real life. The only close things that we got was that Bumblebee film. Sorry, guys, I got the dogs on the couch with me here. And that's the first 2-3 minutes. That was phenomenal. Like, if we got that, sign me up. Live action, that sold. But anyways, different characters. You had some Autobots who were Decepticons, and he tweaked a little bit here and there. But for the most part, it got the gist of the story. It was a boy meeting up with Bumblebee. So you focus on Bumblebee instead of Prime, but whatever. It is what it is. Boy in his car. And then, of course, it turns out to be an alien robot. And then shit happens. That's pretty much what this movie is about. We got our first taste, a little bit of the history of the Transformers. They tweaked it a little bit from what I remember with the cube and all that crap in this film to what it was always meant with Cybertron and stuff. But we got little glimpses here and there and some history. Take a sip of my coffee. But before I discuss all the details and stuff, because I won't be here forever, Transformers, the first one came out in 2007. It was 2 hours and 24 minutes, directed by Michael Bay. It starred Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky, Megan Fox as Michaela, Josh Duhamel as Lennox, military guy, Tyrese Gibson, another military. I think he was a tech sergeant or something like that. You had Rachel Taylor, who played Maggie. She was kind of like a tech guru, smart person who worked for the government or something. Anthony Anderson played Glenn, her buddy who knew stuff, and he was like a little bit of the comic relief. You got John Voight, serious dude. He played the defense secretary to the president. He was the highest military guy in here. Hard ass, badass kind of thing. John Turturro, he played Agent Simmons. He was kind of like the FBI, but he was in charge of tracking down Transformers and stuff. He was also comedy relief. You got Kevin Dunn and Julie White, who played his parents, Ron and Judy. Hilarious, the two of them. And you had Anari, oh my God, Nulano, or I hope I pronounced. He plays Fig. He's from Prison Break, guys. You guys know exactly who I'm talking about, you know. But anyways, the gist of the story, guys, I loved it. Them crash landing on Earth after Bumblebee is discovered by Sam. You got Sam's great-grandfather who discovered the Transformers, and they were after these glasses, which was stupid in itself. Apparently, Megatron crashed earlier looking for this, and he gone missing, and now they're being discovered. You got Barricade, who's a cop car thing. There was a cool chase scene with that. Sam discovering he wants to impress the girl. He gets the ship box that his father got based on his grades. So we've seen the little Volkswagen Beetle there, and then we end up seeing the Camaro, which she turns into the new one that we all know and love. Good-looking car, by the way. And, of course, after that, you got Agent Simmons coming in the picture. You got Lennox with the Scorpion and all that. I'm telling you, there was a lot of cool things, and even Barricade, the car chase scene, the jokes, Michael Bayisms, 100%. Yes, it was present in this one with the Chihuahuas and the swearing, the cursing, and even Sam's little quirks and stuff like that. I was like, okay, that's a little over the top, but trying to get the girl. Then after they end up kind of falling for each other over time because she's the popular girl. He's like a loser with his buddy. And I'm telling you, things like that, they got together. There's a scene with this little Transformer that's going after him. I can remember saying, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. And, she ends up taking some sort of tool, like kind of like, I want to call it a turkey chainsaw thing, I was going to say. They cut it for Thanksgiving, guys, that you cut the turkey apart. She ends up using something like some industrial tool and basically decapitates the thing, and this thing's walking around. He kicks it, and then it kind of turns into her phone. Little things like that. The battle between Optimus Prime, whatever. Some heartfelt moments when Bumblebee gets captured. Yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, the big scene between Prime and Megatron, and then they had to get the cube, which ends up shrinking to one little small thing, and he gets chased, and Megatron and the Decepticons are after him. And as a result, spoiler alert, Megatron bites the big one because he was told by Prime that if I can't defeat him, use the cube, put it in his chest, and that's all she wrote. Instead, he did it for Megatron. Boom. There's also the cool like roller skating scene that Prime's on the expressway or highway that I call him here in Canada land. And they battle and stuff like that and do damage. That was pretty cool. But overall, felt good of what I saw. Was it exactly what I was expecting to be? No. But if I had to classify this as good, bad, and ugly, it's going to be good, in my personal opinion. Now, the second film, guys, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. That came out in 2009. 2 years later. It's about 2 hours and 29 minutes, so about 5 minutes longer. Big deal. We got Ramon Rodriguez, who played Leo Spitz. You got Isabella Lucas, who played Alice. She was the, I want to call it Transformer Natrix. She was the human he meets on the campus that's actually a Transformer and does this crazy Michael Bay shit that only he can do with the tongue and the diesel and whatever. And Michaela comes in and he blows and wrecks the school shop up, and you got the mother who gets high on brownies. I can go on and on, okay? She's upset because the kid is going to university away, and Sam and Michaela are kind of like, separated a little bit because he's going to school, and she's working at her father's bike shop and all this crap. And then you got this little Bigfoot RC, whatever the thing that does a little bit of crazy stuff on her, like humping her legs and stuff. Like I said, that's the Michael Bay stuff, right? And then, of course, you got Jetfire later on, who tells you the story of the Transformers, that apparently you can pick whatever side you want. I'm jumping all over the place. You got Agent Simmons, who got zapped in the first one, who's working at a shop that's going to help them. Then they end up going to the Aerospace Museum, and that's where they find Jetfire. And then they travel, and then you learn about the 13 Primes. And there was one scene that Optimus Prime battles Megatron by himself, and he ends up dying. He gets killed. And, of course, the Fallen, first Decepticon, was one of the 13 brothers who turned evil, and they were hiding that Matrix from him. That's what's keeping him coming here and kind of like taking over Earth and, creating the Doomsday thing on top of a pyramid and all that crap. Prime dies, and then of course Sam's mission is to kind of find the remainder of the Primes, to get the Matrix, to resurrect them, and whatever. And that's what ends up happening. He puts on this wicked jet suit to fight thing, takes out the pyramid, takes out Megatron, blows Megatron's face pretty much. And then the Fallen, that was a setback for me, guys, because with the Fallen, he died quickly. Prime just literally mincemeat at him. The cool part there too, like I said, which was it was cool, but it was still a letdown, was Devastator. You had the Constructicons in it, and he didn't even look like Devastator. He looked like some troll, monkey, monster thing crawling on, his fours and legs and whatever. But it was really cool to see. Mudflap and Skids were in it. Oh my god, the opening scene was pretty cool with them jumping out of airplanes. Oh no, so is that the one? Or I'm thinking Dark in the... Yeah, I think it is the one. Prime jets off the plane, goes in Japan, and they're hunting Transformers and stuff like that with Nest and all this. The Transformers are working with the humans, kind of forming an alliance, stuff like that. So Megatron comes back, and he's like a truck, and he's little things here and there. Like, it's just like things that you expected more of, you didn't really get, and you're like, okay, sure. What are you gonna do about it, right? And as a result, Prime defeats Fallen, saves the day. He's brought back to life, and that was pretty much it. As for me personally, I didn't find this movie to be as like trash that people have said it. Is it as good as the first one? No. Would it be the bad, the good, the bad, or the ugly? I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good either. But if I had to classify it, it's definitely not ugly. I can tell you right now. If I had to classify this as anything, I would probably classify it good, but on the lower scale, kind of maybe tipping into the ugly. But like I said, I personally didn't hate it as much as all you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys are hating it, but either way, it was okay. It was tolerable. I still enjoyed it. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, now we'll lead into the third Transformer film of the Michael Bay franchise, or live action franchise, that people consider this to be the best of the whole series, which I don't really agree, to tell you the truth, but it is probably the second best, I would say. What the hell is the king talking? I'm talking about The Dark of the Moon, guys, okay? This came out 2011, 2 years after Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. This one is 2 hours and 34 minutes, so it's 4 or 5 minutes longer than the last one, and 10 minutes from the first. Okay, we get everybody back pretty much, guys. Shia, Tyrese, Josh, John, Kevin, Julie. Instead of getting Megan Fox because of their fallout, we got Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. She plays Carly, his new love interest that he kind of falls for, because they got to get Megan Fox out of the picture because of some crap that happened off screen. Patrick Dempsey is the kind of antagonist, Dylan. He kind of works for the bad guys, but we find that out later on. He's a race car driver, and Shia's new girlfriend or fiance or whatever you want to call it, Rosie, Carly. She lives with them, and there's a whole bunch of comedy there with the car and all that crap. You got Frances McDormand as Maisie or Miri or something like that. She's the new FBI director who's in charge of stuff that wants to deal with shit. She's kind of connected to Simmons. You got John Malkovich, who's a stuck-up prick who works at this place that it's divided in colors, like red, green, and blue, and he's really particular. He's an a-hole, but he's comes around when he meets the Transformers later on. You got Alan Tudyk, who plays Dutch. Oh my God, he plays John Turturro's Agent Simmons' like bodyguard, and he's fabulous because he wrote a book and he's going off and making millions and shit. And Dutch, phenomenal. I love Alan Tudyk. He's probably one of the standouts of the thing for me. Then you got Ken Jeong. He plays Jerry. He's the guy who knows the secret. You got the Transformer. You got like Soundwave sending like Laserbeak, killing these people off to cover their tracks and stuff. There's a building scene that he literally gets pushed out and dies. And there's a scene in the washroom between him and Shia. And like there's so much little crazy stuff. Highlights for me in this one, guys, Shockwave. He comes and it's this eel that he rides on. It's pretty cool. Prime actually gets a stupid trailer, which is phenomenal, which you finally get to arms up and stuff. him chasing that was pretty cool. There's even a building scene later when the worm goes through and it's devouring everything. You got Shia and the whole bunch of guys running for their lives because at one point, Nate Dempsey's character takes kidnaps her to get Sam to get the Autobots to go so they can blast off and leave the planet, so they can pretty much leave it open for they can do whatever they want, kind of thing. Sentinel Prime was the biggest plot twist in this one. They used the first time us humans went to the moon, and the dark side of the moon is where there was this crash ship. So they went to go walk on the moon, but really they had a side mission. That was where the Transformers were, and to get the pillars that open dimensions and all this shit. And you got Megatron with half a face working with Sentinel. We find out Sentinel betrays. He ends up killing Ironhide or whatever the hell, and he's working with him because they want to save the planet. And what a better way to do it is to bring Cybertron right through using these pillars, using the humans as slaves and shit. And I'm telling you, Warzone, it gets annihilated. Like shit, like it's like apocalypse stuff. You got Transformers that were getting off one by one. You got the humans jumping out of airplanes, getting attacked. Shit was going everywhere. The Wreckers, trickery. Autobots looked like they were going up. It looked like they were getting killed, but it wasn't. They were using Sam and the little watch thing to kind of force them to get them to understand what are your plans to fight back. And it was kind of like they knew something was up with Sam, but kind of kept it quiet. Stuff like that, you know? And at the end, it was Prime to save the day, taking out Sentinel Prime. And then he literally, guys, I swear to God, Megatron helps because there's Rosie's character, Carly, tells Megatron that, hey, you're going to become Sentinel's bitch. And that got Megatron pissed off because he was like second in command. I'm no one second in command. So he goes and he kind of leads the charge to fight Sentinel, attacks him. Prime ends up killing Sentinel, but before he does, he ends up taking Megatron's head off. He takes the axe with one arm and shreds the shit out of Megatron. I'm telling you, some of the most dramatic things, I'm like, damn, there goes Megatron, there goes Sentinel. That's the problem with these things. You build these big guys up and then they're done just like that, right? But overall, story is pretty cool. A lot of action, a lot of Michael Bayisms, things blowing up everywhere, Bumblebee and all that fun stuff. Either way, very good thing there. Loved it all. Highly probably would recommend it. And as classify this, if there was a great, I would put great, but it's the good. So you got 3 films that are good with 2 left, guys. And these 2, different cast and stuff. So this is where things really could get ugly and even bad, okay? And basically, they're going to get classified as one or the other, okay? My personal opinion. So the next we got, guys, was Transformers Age of Extinction, okay? I was excited for this. This came out in 2014. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm like, okay, what the hell's Michael Bay have planned, right? Shia LaBeouf left. Pretty much the original cast left. Okay, guys. The new cast that we got in was Mark Wahlberg stepped in as Cade Yeager. You got Nicola Peltz Beckham plays Tessa, his daughter. You got Jack Reiner, who played Shane, her boyfriend, race car driver, and all that crap. You got Stanley Tucci, who's this scientist guy who wants to get his hands on something. He plays Joshua Joyce. You got Kelsey Grammer, who was an ex-military person who's working with them. We find out later. They're trying to discover materials like transformium to make other Transformers. We find out that's what their whole goal was, and to control them and all that crap and use the technology and weaponize it. Shit goes bad as always. You got Sophia Miles, who works for him, plays Darcy. You got Bing Lee, who plays Sue. Stanley Tucci's assistant, I guess, Kickspot. Let's just say that. I'm just going to leave it at that. Who else is there? Thomas Lennon, he works for the government, talked to Prime and all this stuff. But you're looking out, and the Transformers guys, unfortunately, in this one, because of what happened, the last one have been hunted. They're hiding and stuff, being hunted one by one. Age of Extinction. We were promised, based on the trailer, Dinobots are going to be in there. And that would have sold anybody. Like, damn, what a misleading piece of pile of crap, okay? We got Hound, who was played by John Goodman. But, I don't know, man. Like, The Dinobots, you got Grimlock. They look cool, don't get me wrong, but they weren't the Dinobots that if you were looking for the original G1, like Sludge, Snarl, Swoop, whatever, nah. You got Grimlock, you got some others like Scorn and all these things there with plates on its back, and Swoop looked like this thing with two heads, which I'm like, really, Michael Bay? Come on. Slag or Slug, we got the Triceratops, that's great. Shit happens, right? And the way they're discovered on Lockdown, he's the new villain. He's a Lamborghini villain, and he looked badass. He's like fucking, pardon my language, like the Terminator hunting down the Transformers. Doesn't have no affiliation to any of them. I'm like, damn, they really went out for this, right? And at the same time, Stanley Tucci's trying to get Transformium, the rare metal, so he can make his own Transformer, his armies, and control them and all this crap and the technology and stuff. And you find out that they have Megatron's head. And from Megatron's head, they're using Wheelie or brains to kind of like transfer the memory into a new body. So they're trying to rebuild Megatron into Galvatron. Well, this is how they introduced Galvatron, which I'm like, are you serious, guys? You know? So they're trying to do that. So they're trying to use the technology to create Galvatron, but for some reason, it's not clicking. So anyways, and this one, guys, they make Galvatron in a truck. So there's a cool scene that they're getting chased by Galvatron. It sounded like an electrical truck. That's what it was. And you got Galvatron fighting here and there. And you got Peter Welker doing the voice. The original guy who did Megatron. Sorry, I hope I pronounced whatever. Welker. I'm just going to call him Welker. He does the original voice for Megatron. He's doing Galvatron in this one. And he basically hijacks his own body, guys, does whatever he wants. And then he ends up taking off, control the army and stuff like that. KSI, I think the group was called. So you had one that looked like Bumblebee, and they're fighting. And then you got the Dinobots that Prime has to fight Grimlock. Then he's riding on his back, headed to Japan for one big fight there. Everybody's running. There's this egg that Tucci has that Lockdown given as I guess a reward for giving up Prime, because they were after Prime. Prime is hiding in this one as the old G1 truck rusted and all this shit. Cade Yeager brings it back. They get together, create a bond, and then you got Lockdown fighting Prime at the end. And again, Lockdown goes down kind of easy than we thought, especially when he was this killing machine throughout the whole thing, hunting one by one down and all that stuff. Until the point that it leads up to that fight there, and you got, the other guys getting involved, and the ship was pretty cool with the different ones, and that's where you saw the Dinobots were trapped there, guys. And they end up going out. I'm telling you, it's with the night, Transformer Nights and all that crap. It was kind of like, really, guys? Whatever. Anyways, so they battle, they end up winning, whatever. The thing is saved, right? And as a result, my overall thoughts, I was let down with this one, guys. And if I have to say any of these, and give any classification as good, the bad, and the ugly, this one's going to be the bad, because I was expecting it. Yes, it had some good qualities in it. I get when you recast the whole main characters and all that stuff, like different characters, and you're forced to kind of like, you don't get shy no more. Now, here's your new guy you got to follow and believe in. It kind of takes a little toll on you, right? And I still enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as like some of the comedy scenes and stuff. Like, you're like, really? This is what you're doing, guys? No, So it was what it was, and yeah, it's the bad. So if anything, this is the first bad in the franchise, okay? So the first three, good. This one, bad. And now, this is the fiasco, okay? This was the major letdown that kind of like got me a little bit pissed off and upset and saying, you know what? This franchise is dead unless they reboot it or get back on the thing and get Shia back or something, which they're working on that. I'll just say that. Hopefully he'll be back and there'll be another one. But anyways, so they can continue this thing and end it properly with 2 more parts. I'll be happy. King can die happy person. Anyways, we get into this thing called The Last Night. And I'm like, The Last Night? All right. We're watching the trailers and stuff. And we see these, medieval knights and their Transformers and King Arthur and Lancelot and all that crap. I'm like, okay, where's Michael Bay going to be tying all this shit together? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be set there. Bonus. King was wrong, guys. Holy crap. Like, you got, let me tell you the cast of this one, guys, okay? And this fiasco, it came out in 2017. It's 2 hours and 34 minutes, not as long. You got Mark Wahlberg. Anthony Hopkins gets introduced with Sir Edward Bunton or Burton or whatever his name is. He has all knowledge of the Transformer lore from Sam Witwicky, grandfather and great grandfather to all the way thing, and that it's passed the generation, and they work with Transformers and all this stuff. You even have a World War II Bumblebee before, and all these pictures and stuff. He's knowledgeable. You watch my review, I tell you all about it. Josh Duhamel comes back as Lennox. You got Galvatron, who's turned himself back to Megatron somehow with the marking on his face. You got Barricade's back. Don't know how that's possible. He's back. New style Mustang. Phenomenal. You got Isabel Merced. She plays Izzy, this kid who lives in a scrap heap with this scrap heap transformer and all that stuff. It's little small things. Stanley Tucci. They bring him back, but they don't bring him back as his old character. Guys, this is what got me. Love the opening with the boulders being launched and stuff like that towards the other knights and stuff, and there was a big battle and shit. And then you see him riding a horse. Stanley Tucci, guys. This is where it's kind of like, are you kidding me? Is he playing his ancestor? What's going on? He played Merlin. And not only did he only play Merlin, he played a drunken Merlin. And I'm like, guys, you lost me. He's like waking his way to this Red Knight Transformer that he needs its help, that King Arthur needs their help, and he needs blah, blah, blah. So he gives him this kind of like staff that they look for later on in the film. Like, I can tell you right, that's the MacGuffin. And it hails this Transformer that turns into a three-headed dragon, and it turns the tides, and then it goes to normal time. And I'm like, you lost me. Like, it's got to the point that I blocked a lot of the stuff that I saw, because you got Cybertron coming in, you got Quintessa getting introduced, the original creator of the Transformers. You see that at the beginning of the spaceships and turning everything to metal. I'm telling him, like, she's trying to, turn it whatever. You got Unicron coming from the Earth, so they're trying to find out, I guess, the Transformer Prime storyline. I never followed that. I never watched the cartoon series, guys, so they kind of implement that. Quintessa's trying to, gather things and get Megatron to do her bidding, and then she gets a Prime. Prime turns into a bad guy, goes after Bumblebee. There's like an underwater thing that they got to go with Sub. There's a Sub Transformer. There's a little, like, I want to call it a headmaster thing that's crazy. I don't know if he's played by Alan Tudyk. Probably, it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Cog, I think his name was. Working with Anthony Hopkins, and they're trying to find this person, that person. Then you have, let me get her name right. I want to make sure. Gemma Chan plays Quintessa, guys. Laura Haddock plays Mark Wahlberg's new love interest, but she's also a British scientist who's attached to King Arthur somehow, and she's the key to all this. And there's a bracelet that protects Mark Wahlberg. He's the like last night, apparently, and they're trying to save the world, and they were keeping Quintessa away from this because she's really evil, because he wants to bring up Unicron to eat the Earth and destroy all. Like, I'm telling you, it's all this crap they throw at you that didn't make sense. Then you had Stonehenge in there involved. That it's really something else, and it's the thing with the thing that we're going under into water. They pull out so they can bring Cybertron, so they can put it together. Then they got to blow shit up, and you're like, well, it's one thing after another that didn't make any sense. And you have the little Transformers like trying to help out, like Bumblebee. It was the dumbest thing ever. Things being turned upside down, people getting blown up, and like, I'm telling you guys, it was, if anything, the ugly of the franchise. It was a shitty way to go down. Even the way they ended, it was like, really? This is what you're gonna do? And Unicron's still stuck there, and you got Quintessa alive, and I'm like, Megatron, you don't even know what the hell happened to him. He looked cool with the curls and whatever, his mask. It looks great. The two that were like, nah, man. It just like, it just became too stupid. It was downright the ugly. And this was probably a franchise killer for the Transformers. And then we got Bumblebee and, of course, Rise of the Beast that kind of slowly revitalized the franchise to, at least have a heartbeat, But overall, Transformers, good. Revenge of the Fallen, good, even though it should be towards bad. You got The Dark of the Moon, which was good. Age of Extinction was bad. And of course, Transformer the Last Night was the ugly, guys. And my overall thoughts on the 5 Michael Bay films is, honest to God truth, overall, as a 5-film franchise, it was good. I wish I could say it was great, or it was a masterpiece, or something that I could, say, guys, you got to watch this. I recommend you watching the whole thing. It's good from beginning to end. No, you're not going to hear that from me, especially when I'm one of the biggest Transformer fans on the face of the planet. The first 3 films kept this franchise alive. The last 2 kind of destroyed the lore. Even though it made money, it just started to go down, and there was a reason why. It just got dumb, and the expectations, it looked like Michael Bay phoned it in for the last 2. He goes, you know what? We'll just throw shit, and they're going to watch it. Watch. It doesn't matter what we are. It can be a stupid, lame-ass story. People are going to go watch it. We'll make money. Don't worry about it. And it backfired and pretty much got the boot, revamp, and all that crap, and it hurt the franchise. There's talks that they're going to do another one, and hopefully the main cast is going to come back for 2 more so they can deal with this Unicron shit and whatever else they're going to tie up any loose ends, which I think it needs a proper send-off because it didn't. And it was kind of bad for Mark Wahlberg and all those actors who got involved in the last 2 films. It wasn't right. They didn't get a third one to kind of finish that off and maybe redeem themselves. So hopefully this will be, a little bit of both casts coming together and ending this thing properly with at least 2 more films, in my personal thing. And then they can do whatever the hell they want. Go back to the Bumblebee, the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds or whatever the hell it is of that film with them on Cybertron. Give me that. You're going to make money. Because we saw what we got with Transformers 1. You mix a little bit of the 2 together. Winning formula, guys. But anyways, that is my Hot Topic podcast episode review of the Michael Bay Transformer films. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It is podcast, just in case I didn't mention it, episode number 86. You guys know exactly what that nod's for. Tune in this Sunday. There's going to be a new podcast coming your way. I'm going to probably reveal, if not in this video itself, probably on Instagram. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be interesting. And like I said, guys, you can expect probably maybe 2 to 3 podcast episodes moving forward, like until the end of the year, and except the Christmas week. Stranger Things is coming out, Fallout's coming out, Knives Out's coming out, and there's some other hot topics that I'll leave as a surprise. But you're probably going to get something Sunday, Tuesdays, and Fridays until we hit number 99 at the end of the year. So until then, be the hell good, stay off the King's throne, and I'll see you guys where? I'll see you right here on YouTube Land. Take it easy. Definitely be the hell good. Leave clean comments. The comment section, the King's going to delete it. Say what you got to say, but tell the King why you like or you don't like this franchise as a whole. Either way, keep it clean. Stay off the King's throne, and I'll see you guys where? Right here on YouTube Land.